Hey loves, it's Danny, and you already know we talk about all things that make you the greatest version of yourself. So if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. As y'all know, today we're talking about anxious attachment styles in a relationship. We're going to talk about what it is, what happens, and how we could break this cycle of fear and abandonment. Now, as you guys may not know, I'm somebody that grew up with a very anxious attachment style. Now, an anxious attachment style is basically craving closeness, but also fearing abandonment. And oftentimes, this attachment style stems from early childhood trauma. Likely, you probably grew up in an environment where your emotional needs weren't met, where the love was inconsistent, right? And because your emotional needs were never met, now you're over checking, you're over giving, you fear silence, you constantly need reassurance, right? Like it's just anxiety. And it gets to a point where yeah, your relationship may be going well, but the minute your partner decides that they're tired or maybe they just want space, you create this entire loop in your head and try to figure out, what did I do wrong? What did I say? But and this is because you grew up in an environment where you constantly had to walk on eggshells, all right? For example, me, I grew up in an environment where I felt less than my family because I was constantly being compared to my biological father, someone that I had never met before. I would always be compared to that person and and they would always talk about how he was a bad person. And so for me growing up, I looked at myself as a negative and bad person. And this is also because growing up, I would have emotions. And whenever I would have emotions such as crying or frustration, and I was really young, like 5 years old, I would get told that I was problematic, a drama queen, just like my father, and that I was a problem. I also learned that love was conditional and that I needed approval to be loved and to be given that attention. And so because of that, growing up, I started projecting this not only in my romantic relationships, but also in my friendships. And I would become super attached to people to a point where I would kind of sabotage these connections because of my anxiety and because of that fear of, oh my God, they're going to leave me. And I would be too overgiving and I would constantly want to be around these people and be in these people's faces. And it gets to a point where it's like, damn, you know what I mean? Like realistically. And you guys understand, like with anxiety, it kind of feels like you need to do more, when in reality silence is okay, doing less is more. And so when I would find that people would be distant, I would start over explaining myself and talking, like it would just get like it was just a loop, you know what I mean? And a lot of us, we go through this, and these actions are literally a result of your inner trauma, of the things that you went through in early childhood. And a lot of people don't look at life this way, but a lot of the things that you go through as a child, even in the first like 5-7 years, that literally is ingrained in your subconscious mind. And those things that you picked up on attached to you, and it becomes your personality. And this is why I talk a lot about shadow work and why it's so important. And how, if you guys don't know what shadow work is, it's pretty much going deep within yourself and learning who you were before life told you who to be, before your mom had these expectations of what she wanted out of you, what career, what kind of and before religion, you were put into a certain religion, you were put into a certain friend group, and you were put into a certain school. It's like, who were you? Because oftentimes we think that we know ourselves, but in reality, we're actually wearing this mask because we've lived looking externally, trying to fit into everybody else's life and everybody else's belief system, but we've never truly been ourselves, right? Because now our demeanor, our mannerism, the way we carry ourselves, it's because of what we've seen growing up. It's programming. So when I realized this, and I realized that I was a very anxious person, and I was very I would get super anxiously attached, I knew that something needed to change. And I knew that it meant changing my mindset, because I understood that everything starts within. You're not going to see changes in your life if you continue to look externally and seek external validation. If you are constantly waiting for someone to clap for you and celebrate for you before you could even celebrate yourself, you're doing it all wrong. Because now you're looking for, okay, when are they going to be happy? When are they going to cheer me on? Why can't you cheer yourself on? You know why I'm saying that? Because you may do something that you may think is the greatest thing ever, and you may look externally at these people and they may not approve. They may not like what you're doing career-wise. They may not like the risk that you're taking. They may not believe in you because those are the same people that do not believe in themselves. You can't expect people that don't believe in themselves to believe in you. And I think that for me growing up, that was a really big issue. A lot of people in my family, they did not take risks. They were comfortable being stuck in the same position, doing the same thing, and just passing those traumas, passing the way of thinking and talking down to their kids, to me, obviously, as well. And it's like, it was really choosing between, okay, do I want to keep myself stuck here, affecting my mental health and draining and feeling depleted because I'm trying to please these people, or do I want to distance myself so I can evolve and grow and actually find what it is that I love to do, who I am, and finding my passions, finding who I am before life told me who I was. So these are the things that I actively did to break those cycles, right? It started with distancing myself, learning that, okay, I can love from a distance and having space is okay, right? Being in silence is okay. So many of us, we don't know how to sit with ourselves in silence because we feel like things have to constantly be said. We feel like we have to constantly be moving and getting other people's approval and pleasing everybody and worrying about everybody and fixing everything. And honestly, you don't. Being that way is going to cause so much anxiety, so much stress for yourself. It's okay to sit down. It's okay to ground yourself. And this means practicing stillness. So what I started to do to practice stillness was I started spending time with me, myself, and I started meditating more. I would paint, I would journal, I would draw. I started getting into habits that I didn't even know I was good at. Like, honestly, I didn't even think that I was good at drawing at all. And when I started practicing and getting into drawing, I was like, wow, like I'm a little crafty. Like, wow, like I would have never thought that about me. It is something that I genuinely enjoy. When I started getting more into painting, in like my early 20s, I guess I was like 19, 20, I started like reflecting back and I'm like, you know what? As a child, I used to love my art class and I started remembering these parts of myself that I actually enjoyed as a child. But because I went through a lot of trauma and because I was so focused on fixing everybody around me and pleasing everybody around me, it pulled me away from what it is that I actually like doing. And so now when I think back, I'm like, damn, like I've always actually liked art. Like I've genuinely loved like being in art class. I remember like that would always make me feel present in the moment. And that's what you want to do. You want to create routines for yourself that are going to allow you to be present in the moment. Because when you're present in the moment, you're not thinking about the past and you're not worrying about the future. You're just existing and you're honoring your experience. You have to learn to honor your experience and honor yourself for who you are and not for what everybody else wants of you. Okay. And when you learn to do this, you're not going to be craving other people's attention. You're not going to be craving other people's validation because now you're going to find yourself and you're going to find joy in finding yourself and you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay with saying, you know what? I can sit by myself. I can take myself on a lunch date. I can walk in nature by myself. I can do things on my own. All right. A lot of people, when we become so anxiously attached, we start to become very codependent of our partners. And that's how it was for me. When I got into my first serious relationship, I became super codependent on my partner because, again, I didn't know how to be independent. And I didn't know how to be independent because I constantly had to make sure that I was being good enough for my mom, for my uncle, for people around me so I could be accepted. You know, and I was constantly being somebody that I wasn't, right? Because I was always called a drama queen or too sensitive or too weak, I would portray this image of me as being somebody who's bold and who's loud. And mind you, I've always been super talkative and I've always been somebody who's been super loud. But I feel like growing up, I would do it extra and I would always try to be the funny one and I would always be the one to like want to get the attention because I wanted to kind of mask that part of me that was soft, that was sensitive. But now I embrace my sensitivity. Now I embrace my soft moments. I embrace that I'm very empathic and I'm okay with that. Because now I don't look externally for that validation. I've gotten comfortable with myself. And that meant dealing with being uncomfortable. Because I'm not going to lie, when I started going out on my own and I started doing these by myself and I started having to take accountability for my own suffering, it was uncomfortable. But when you put yourself in a position to be comfortable with the uncomfortable, it becomes easier, right? And you start building more consistency with yourself, more routine, right? And that's going to help guide you into finding yourself. I started indulging in activities that actually made me happy, actually made me feel good. And I started noticing that in doing that, I was releasing so much stress. I was releasing heaviness. I was releasing all that weight, and I started healing my trauma. I started going back to my childhood and realizing, okay, when did I find myself being unhappy? When did I find myself being overwhelmed? When did I find myself genuinely feeling connected with me, right? And that's the shadow work. I made a video about shadow work. I'm going to put the link in the description if you guys haven't watched it already, so you guys can go back and kind of get a feel of what shadow work is and how to implement that in your life. But that's very, very, very important, because when you can reduce that stress, it's going to help your relationships in the long run. You don't want to carry that trauma with you and let that trauma define you, because then you're going to start to experience that trauma again and again and again in different forms with different people. And you're going to wonder, oh, well, why am I always suffering? Why am I never have a good relationship? Why do people not want me? Why this? That reasoning is because of you, because you're allowing that, because you're not open to change. You're not open to feedback. You're not open to doing different. If you're not open to change, you're going to find yourself being stuck in the same position, the same place again for the rest of your life. And then you're constantly going to feel anxious. You're going to constantly be in this loop of, oh, what's wrong with me? What did I do wrong? It's not about what you did wrong. It's about what are you doing that's right. If you're not doing the things that are right, if you're not doing the things that are going to benefit you and add to your life, then it's like, what are you doing? You know? And the reason you're not honoring yourself is because you're too busy putting all these people around you on a higher pedestal than you. And that's not how it should be. If you don't love yourself, why are you putting yourself in a relationship? A point of a relationship is to go in and share the love that you have within you, and for that person to share their love with you as well, is to come together and share what you guys already have. You're not going to go into this relationship and have your partner define your whole entire existence. You're not going to be like, oh, well, the only way I can feel happy and loved and fulfilled is if I have a partner. That should not be what life is about, because it's your life. It's your reality. So the way you feel about yourself and your confidence level and the love you have for yourself should not be determined from another person. It should not be defined by another person. You should be the only person defining your worth and your love and your success. Because at the end of the day, nothing lasts forever. Nothing lasts forever. So you may be super attached to this person, and you may feel like, oh, this person is everything. This is forever, forever, forever. What happens when that person decides to leave? What happens when you guys grow into two different paths? Now you're going to be depressed. Now you're going to feel worthless. Now you're going to feel a lack of love because this person decided to leave. You need to embrace your experience and understand that there's no such thing as good or bad. Everything is just an experience. You need to honor it. You need to honor the present moment. You need to really think, okay, this person is with me now. They're adding to my life. They make me happy. We enjoy each other's company. But I know that if this person decides that they need to leave, or they want to leave today, I know that I will still be happy. I know that I will still be okay, because I have that level of self-love for myself. And I know how to be independent. And I know how to handle things on my own. And I don't need this person's validation to tell me who to be and what to wear and how to act, because I know myself. And I have a good relationship with myself. If you can establish a better relationship with yourself, then you'll find yourself being healthier in a relationship for other people. I used to always wonder, oh, why am I always single? Why can't I find nobody? Why can't I this? Because I didn't have a good relationship with myself. I didn't know how to sit alone. Because I sat alone and I would get depressed. I would get anxiety. I would get, you know why? Because I didn't have a healthy mindset. The way that I spoke to myself internally wasn't healthy. Because I looked at myself as, oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I'm problematic. Oh, I'm dramatic. Oh, nobody likes me. Those are words of affirmation. And that's what you're affirming in your life. And what you need to realize is your words are powerful. And your words, your inner dialogue, the way you speak to yourself, that creates your entire reality, right? So you need to establish a healthier relationship with yourself. Let yourself know that you are confident, that you are loved, because love is your truest essence. And when you can do that, there's nothing that anybody can do that's going to break you. Because you're going to be strong, you're going to be powerful. And you're going to be able to take things in and say, you know what? I have this job, I have this person in my life, I have these friends, but I understand this job, this friendship, this relationship is not going to last forever, and I'm okay with that. If it lasts forever, great. That's amazing, right? That's great. If it doesn't, hey, it's okay. I could still pick myself up and I could still be amazing, you know? And it's not something that's easy, right? I'm telling you guys, this is not something that tomorrow you're going to be fine. You're not going to have anxiety. No. But with consistency, with practicing mindfulness, with practicing being present, doing breath work, it's gonna work, because that's you reprogramming your inner dialogue. That's you reprogramming your life. And you have to understand that your anxious attachment style will affect your relationships. And you gotta be open to growing. You can't just say, oh, this relationship didn't work. You know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna go into another relationship without healing, without learning, without taking accountability of your actions and what you do in the relationship. Because yeah, things may not have worked out because this person did this. For example, me, I got cheated on before, right? I made a story time about that. If you guys wanna go watch it, there's a link. I could sit here and be like, oh, F love, I don't like, people are this, people are cheaters, people are... Okay, cool, I got cheated on. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm not saying, that I shouldn't be hurt about it. But also, I have to take accountability on my end, right? On my end. Okay, like, what could have drawn this healthy relationship to this point, Because, yeah, it's easy to play the blame game and point fingers. But also, it takes two people to create a good foundation and a good relationship, right? So, I had to do that. I had to really go deep and heal and say, you know what? How did I react? How did I speak? Right? Because clearly I wasn't being respected enough because I didn't respect and honor myself. If I didn't have boundaries for somebody, right? Because I was constantly anxiously attached to them and I didn't know how to give space. How do I expect my partner to have boundaries and that level of respect for me if I'm not even showing that within myself, right? And again, cheating is not wrong, but also take accountability. That's the number one thing. And like I said, it's hard because it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to really be honest with yourself. But honestly, that's going to get you further in life and you're actually going to heal and learn. And that's going to create healthier relationship with yourself and with other people. Because healing yourself reduces that anxiety in love. Like, healing yourself will reduce your anxiety when it comes to love. Loving yourself, loving your family, loving your partners, right? Because you're loving because it's natural, because it's a part of who you are. You're not loving because you want to get approved. You're not giving because you want them to like you and you want them to look at you and put you on this high pedestal because you did X, Y, and Z. Do things because it comes from you, not because you're looking for an expectation. You're expecting them to love you more. You're expecting them to do this for you, or you're expecting them to be closer to you. Do it because you genuinely want to do it. Because I promise you, loving without needing constant validation is possible, and it's healthy. It's a healthy way to live. It's a healthy way to be. All right. So like I said, it's all about reprogramming your subconscious mind. It's all about finding your level of self-love and self-worth. It's all about healing and just being okay with letting go of people, situations, feelings, things that just do not align with the best version of you, that do not make you feel good. All right. And like I said, it's not something that's easy, but again, with consistency and with practice, you can get there. And this is for anybody out there that struggles with anxiety, that struggles with getting too attached with people and things, and who's constantly feeling disappointed at the end. You're not going to feel disappointed at the end if you just simply believe in yourself and everything that you do comes from you because you want a better you. All right. So thank you so much for watching this video. I love you guys so much. And if you guys have any questions, comment below. If you guys want me to make a part 2 of this video, let me know, because I love talking about this. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.